Okay, today I'm going to change out the radiator fan in my wife's car, which is a 2009 Chevy Malibu. And I'll walk you through the steps on how to change it. Okay, I guess the first thing is obvious. Pop the hood, and you take these bolts off here, so you can take this cover off. You have a few of these bolts, and then you have, looks like 4 push pins. You pull up the center, and then you can pull the whole thing out. There's 3 push pins in these locations, and then this bolt is right up in here, in this location right here. And then you have 9 bolts and 2 push pins to take off this front air dam all the way around. And you have 3 more push pins here on this side. And to make it easier is to turn this wheel back the other way so you can get to this bolt up here. Okay, after you've taken out all these bolts all the way around, you can go ahead and take out, and don't forget this bolt here that holds this intake tube on. And you can go ahead and pull this out of your way and set it off to the side. And the fan is right behind this bar. It's really hard to see. And there's no way that it's going to come out the back. It has to come out the front. So you have to take all this off to change it. Alright, just a second, I'll show you how that comes apart. Okay, once you've taken all the air dam screws out and these push pins plus that 1 bolt that's up in here, you can reach your fingers in behind this fender well. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed, but then get your fingers in back there and pull forward. So you're trying to pull these clips forward so you can get that out. And then you reach up here, and there's another one right here that you have to pull. Give it a good yank. And just be mindful of your paint. And it should. Okay, see how it's in behind it, so you can't pull forward, you got to pull up. There's another one here, the same way. See how that one popped too? Alright, and we got to reach in behind here and pull this one out. Okay, that's good. Now, I need to stop this. Once you get this one pulled out and this one pulled up, you should pull out, because you got 1 clip here underneath the headlight. For those models that have the driving lights, you got to make sure that you unhook the wiring harness before you pull this off. And it should just come out in one giant piece. And set it down either on a towel or a blanket or something. And that gives you access to either changing your headlights if you need to. If you do, you take out this bolt here and this bolt back here, and this headlight will pop out forward enough where you can access the wiring harness. Now, my next one is I have to take this radiator out or remove it so I can get to the fans that are behind here. Okay, once you get that cover off, or the air dam off, you will find that there's 2 push pins. There's one here on this cover, and you'll find one over here. You go ahead and remove those. Then you'll find 2 bolts that holds this metal piece here on. You got to take this one off, this one here, and this one over here. Okay? You take those off, and that way it'll give you access to pull this fan up out this way. We'll also have to take these 2 radiator supports loose. One here, you don't have to get that close, and one here. Okay. In order to get this radiator out, you're going to take this bottom hose, this top hose, and you're going to see 2 transmission lines. One is on the bottom. I've got it up here so it doesn't leak near as much. And there's one back here that goes on top. You have to take the radiator out. You know, I thought I could do it without it, but the other guy on YouTube, he's correct. You have to take it out. Now you can get to the top one, okay. It's not that bad. Turn this fan off. The top one is not that bad. You can get to it, but the bottom one, what I've had to do was to take off this bunch of GM plastic stuff here, and you're going to find a few push pins, one major one that goes into the frame here, but it will give you more access to that bottom transmission line right here, this bottom one. When you get it out, the bottom one is what I'm talking about, is this one here. On my wife's car, this fan on this side shattered, and you can see it did a little bit of damage there, but I don't think it's going to hurt it any. And right here, that's what's left of it. It shattered. She said it made a loud bang, and so I guess that was it. So, and then once you get the radiator out, this fan will give you enough clearance that you can just pull it right on out. And then you can prep the new one. And this is the new one here. This has to go in first, and then your radiator. Alright, let me get it back in there and I'll do a little more. I want to mention a very important side note. When you take these transmission cooling lines off of the radiator, this is in a tank and it just slides around, so when you get it in there, it's going to be almost impossible to thread these back on. So you have to take this little tiny clip. Let me show you. This little tiny keeper comes off this end here, this end over on this side, and put these on first before you put the radiator back in the car. That way this is there, and it's almost it's a lot easier. If you don't, it's going to be almost impossible for you to kind of line this up and hope for the best that you can get it in there. Okay? Definitely don't forget. Okay, now I'm starting to put it back together. I got the radiator in there. The transmission lines are hooked up. The radiator lower and upper radiator hose clamps are in place. The fan clips on the radiator, I really can't see it from here, but they're in place. This cooling condenser is hooked up to the radiator. Don't forget your radiator supports. So a push pin on this one and that one over there, plus your center nut here, this nut here, that nut here. Make sure you get those so you can get this piece back on. Now, and this piece also goes across and clips here and here. and also clips in the back right here. Up, it goes in and then down on this, and that's what keeps it there. Now all the push pins for all this plastic mechanism needs to be put back in place. I'll do that now, and I'll be right back. Okay, there's one major push pin that's right here. I don't know if it's showing up or not, but it pushes the back piece in first and then push in the center piece. That locks it in place. You've got a push pin that goes here that holds this cover on. Like that. And then you have another push pin right here in the back. And that one, let me take one, let's see. Huh, it's in it. Huh, okay. Another tip that I found out. Like I said, there's a push pin here. There's one here, and there's that major one that's in behind this. There's also one back here, but this one sometimes doesn't want to go in. What is stopping it is, if you'll look right up here, this is supposed to hug this frame and go underneath this windshield washer reservoir. So make sure you check that, and that one there will go in a lot easier. The reason why it's wet is that I hosed it off to make sure it was clean. Clean all the oil and grease off of it. You go ahead and clip your fan in on this side, and then there's one clip or one connector for this fan. It's hard to see this, but there's a little keeper that goes onto the frame or the fan housing itself. That holds a wiring harness in there. Same way with this one. You'll see it once you start looking at the wiring. Okay, next I believe would be the front clip. When you're putting this cowl piece on, or whatever you want to call it, it takes these kind of bolts here. Well, that's a push pin. But it takes these kind of bolts, but then there's two of them that have this little rubber, I guess, washer on it or spacer. They actually go in the front. This one here and this one here. That's the only place. And then the rest of them are either these or push pins. That's a push pin, and these two are push pins. And those are the separating type, where you get the center out first and then you pop the outer edge up. That's how you can distinguish it between this one, and this one. These definitely go on top. There's only 4 of these. Don't forget your 10mm bolt goes up here in that little slot. You'll find its way. And then you got these 3 push pins. And then you've got these 9 little bolts that goes around the front along with 2 push pins. So after you get all those 9 screws in, the 2 push pins, you want to make sure you top off the radiator. Well, actually, you want to make sure that you turn the little drain plug and make sure it's closed. Top off the radiator with some antifreeze. And then start the car and check for leaks. Also, you may want to, when it gets hot, is to check the transmission fluid, because we did spill a little bit out of the radiator itself, so it might be just a tad bit low. Alright, thank you for watching.